Hi, this is 365801 and this is another buddy reading vlog. And this month we are going to be reading, me and Katie, Treasure. So yeah, we've got, this one still has its plastic on, this one does not. Yeah, we're going to do this June Manga. They're kind of chunky boys. They're kind of chunky volumes. This is in my unread section, I think, which starts about here-ish. So, I don't have too many of the smaller trim size June Manga titles that I haven't read, but Treasure is one of them. So we're going to do this one. So yes, hello, good morning. I'm going to be doing this one with Katie. Today is the 20th. That's usually when we kind of aim to do our buddy read. So Riyu Yamakami I kind of know-ish, but I don't know if I enjoy it. I honestly have no idea what this is about. I have never read the back, so I have no idea what this is about. And I don't know why they're so chunky. They're super thick compared to a normal June manga or even normal volumes. So yeah, this is what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to take some photos for social media, the socials. I'm going to have my cup of coffee because it is morning, and it's going to be a really boring vlog, I'm afraid. Today, I mean, there's only 2 volumes, so I don't think it's going to be too taxing for me, but I don't actually have any other plans today because I did have plans and they were cancelled last night, so now I'm like, oh, okay. So I might just tidy my house and read manga, or I could just read manga. Yeah, I have no idea what this is about. Honestly, have no idea because I've never read it, and I've always been like, oh well, it's an easy, quick short series. We're finally gonna do it. This one I'm gonna have to take the plastic off for, which is always exciting. And I can't remember where I got it from or how much I paid, but probably not a lot. Maybe I even got it from the June Manga website back in the day when they were actually worth buying from, and shipping fees internationally wasn't so terrible. I did actually buy quite a lot of titles directly from them. So yeah, I guess we start with volume 1, which was published, drumroll please, September 2010. So actually one of the later ones, Laura Russell translation. But this was originally 2005 in Japan. So it's a 2005 title. That's kind of good to know. Yeah, this is a particular style of art that I would say is a little bit old-fashioned. But maybe that's just of the time. 2005, probably. I don't know what her art style would be like now. Yeah, let's give Treasure Volume 1 a go. Okay, so I'm only like a couple pages in, but red flags already. So this child, now Yuki, he's just gonna be 16 this year, so that means he's not even 16 yet. Red flags. He's getting picked up by his cousin Satoshi, who is 19, and is smoking in the car, and rightly so. Now Yuki's saying that he shouldn't be smoking, and that he's getting car sick. So someone from, it's like a fish out of water type story. So this person has come from an island and he's going to be living in the city with family. And I'm like, no, cousins, no. Yeah. The other thing is the art style on the inside, which is perfectly fine, is not exactly the same as the art style on the front. I gotta say, these two characters do not look like these two characters. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. So first chapter down, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna enjoy this. It seems like maybe I'm not in the right mood or mind frame for it, but it seems like yeah, maybe not my kind of thing. The kind of thing that I'll read and I will want to read really quickly just to get it over with. So I'm already not excited about reading this now. Yeah, so it turns out they're not cousins by blood relation, but they are cousins legally, because Satoshi's father had an adopted sister and she got married and they had a kid. So he's not a blood cousin, but he is legally still a cousin. And now Yuki was brought up on an island by Satoshi's grandmother. And he's come to the city, and instant red flags from the cousin, who's, I'm guessing, three years older, and has decided to make use of now Yuki's naivety and sexually assault him. Yay. And that's how it ends. The first chapter ends. And I was thinking, are they gonna like, is this gonna be a long thing where they start to get closer and they eventually build up a rapport and a relationship, and then they fall in love and then they have sex? No. He assaults him, coerces him into sex, right in the first chapter. Right in the first chapter. This kid is maybe 16, but maybe 15. I don't know, because they said you'll be 16 this year, right? That means that maybe he's not even 16 yet. But then the uncle says, oh, if you take your entrance exam now, you'll be a year behind. I guess that would be the case. So yeah, I don't know. Is he 15 or 16? And he's just been, yeah, this... I'm suddenly not terribly excited for this, but I also am like, well, it's in my collection, I gotta read this. Anyway, I am gonna probably have a little bit of a break, because now I know what to expect. I need to gird my loins. I'm gonna finish my coffee, probably have something to eat, and I'll go take some photos as well. Ugh. Is it gonna be one of those ones? I already feel like, meh. Also, it's really interesting that the art style is completely different inside and I prefer the inside. I do prefer it. It's quite interesting how hair is presented throughout the time periods. I think someone could definitely do a study just on how hairstyles and fashion styles are presented over the decades within BL. That's just like its own little study. Because the clothes and the hairstyles seem very old-fashioned in this. But I prefer it to whatever's going on here on the front. Because they don't look like the same characters at all, do they? Anyway, right, I shall check in when I've read some more. Okay, so it's lunchtime, so I thought I would just have a little break and have a read. I'm gonna have to go down and actually get some food though. So it's a bit chilly, so I came back into bed just to, you know, get comfy. Honestly, I'm so bored. I'm hating this. This is definitely a one and done. I want to get this done today. So this vlog is going to be really boring. It's going to be me moaning about this, because I knew instantly, almost instantly, I was going to be like, no, this is not a good one. So yeah, I am like halfway through this volume, and we have seen I'm like wondering what I said about we've seen a small development of their relationship. So the second chapter kind of addressed the fact that they were in a sexual relationship, and there was no romantic connection between the two of them, and that was eventually resolved by the end of the first by the end of the second chapter. And then we're into the third chapter, and then it's more of the how are you how deep are your feelings, your romantic feelings, as you continue the sexual relationship with your cousin Naoyuki. And also he is now got into high school. He's technically 1 year behind, so he'd be like 16 going on 17 rather than 15 going on 16. And he's met a friend, or a new friend anyway, who seems a bit of a dick, if I'm honest. The nurse came over to say hi, and he was like slagging her off behind her back. What a total cow. I'm like, what? Also, the dialogue in this is ridiculous. What was it I came across? It was really stupid. I'm trying to find it. I was just like, who wrote this? Here it is. No, it's not that one. Anyway. Yeah, here you go. We've been banging all this time, and now you're harshing on me? Harshing on me? Who says that? Who came up with this dialogue? Well, Laura Russell, obviously. But I'm not feeling this at all. I was so excited about this because I was like, oh, I wonder what it's about. I wonder if it's a good one. I'm now coming to the conclusion that Riyu Yamakami is maybe not the mangaka for me. It's perfectly competent as an old style, panels and things like that. But there's no interest and no tension, and it's full of toxicity. A lot of gaslighting, a lot of abusive traits within the relationship. That's just normalized, and I'm like, that's not normal. That's not good. That's not healthy. And the main issue that I have with this is Naoyuki as a character. I don't hate naive characters, but I do have an absolutely huge problem with naive characters in romantic situations. And that's generally why I dislike a lot of MF romance, is because the female character is portrayed often in a naive or stupid way, as though the female character is stupid and is in some way saved or protected or, something with the male character. And I'm not a huge fan of that in MF. That's why I choose not to read a lot of shoujo, because there's so much variety in shoujo. So that's kind of like a blanket statement that I definitely retract in that respect. But there are so many shoujo that I will give a go because they've got a lot of promotion, or they're kind of popular, and I'll instantly dislike the female character because I'm like, she's being portrayed as a stupid person. She's being portrayed without any common sense, or with a huge degree of naivety, which is unrealistic. And if someone is like that, like, what the fuck? I hate it. And in fairness to the gender, to gender norms, I also hate it in this BL. Naoyuki is a perfectly lovely person, but he's being portrayed as naive and stupid to the point where he's having sex with someone, and believing things that they say. It's all lies, it's all gaslighting, it's all really negative tropes, and it's the same in some shoujo manga.
you know, the naive female character goes along with something that anyone with any degree of common sense would be like, no, get the fuck out. And this is also something that I don't like in BL. And, you know, that shows the close connection with BL and shoujo, that BL came from shoujo. That's where it was originated. And so it does maintain some of the same tropes, some of the same naive tropes. But with this one, I'm really not enjoying it, because not only is the main character portrayed as stupid and naive and gullible and open to abuse from another character, it's also really boring. I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Nothing interesting has happened. Nothing unique. Nothing out of the ordinary. This is cookie cutter, you know, by the book, shitty BL. I'm really not enjoying it because I'm bored, and I'm also really just not enjoying it because the characters are awful. So yeah, this is not my choice. This is not a good one. This is not a good one. But I am halfway through, and I swear to God, I'm gonna get this whole goddamn series finished today. I'm not gonna want to read this tomorrow. I want to get this finished, and I want to get my palate cleansed by something else by the end of the day. I want to go to bed tonight being like, oh, I'm really glad I started reading that, whatever it was, and then forget I've even read this. This is going to go in the, you read it once, it's in the pile, and I don't need to think about it ever again, because I'm already bored. I don't see this being redeemable. I don't think there's going to be some redemption by the second volume. I'm also really hungry, so I'm going to go get something to eat. I don't know what I want, but I'm going to eat something because I need something to take my mind off this. I also I'm constantly like, I'll read like 2 or 3 pages and just go, I want to pick up my phone and watch a video or scroll on social media, and that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, I'm gonna get something to eat. I need something to take my... I need the distraction. I need a distraction, and I'm not enjoying it. I wonder if Katie is, or if she's just as bored as I am, because this is not good. So I couldn't be bothered making anything fancy, so I just made a ham sandwich, a wee roll, and a cup of coffee, and then I'm gonna go right back to reading that and getting that volume finished. This is a little challenge for myself today. I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I have now finished volume 1 of Treasure, but at what cost? At what cost? When I say I'm not vibing with this, I am not vibing at all. This is the cover artwork and the interior artwork are completely different until you get to this page at the end, which is after her little comment, and these are not what the characters look like in the majority of it. It's literally this page, the front cover, they look the same, and then the rest of it, they don't look that. So it's obviously this is a lot later. And obviously as well, I'm like reading this going, well, even when I read it, the first chapter and then it went on to the second one, I was like, that kind of felt like an ending. And she does confirm that this is the case, that it was supposed to be a quick one-shot and then she just continued it. You can tell. Like, I could tell, so you could definitely tell. And also, it's because it's the kind of story that you would get a one-shot of that would maybe be very similar to, let's say, Don't Be Cruel or Finder, where the first chapter results in a sexual assault, and then it kind of inadvertently just carries on as a series for ages. Luckily this one didn't, because I hate this. I hate this. And you know why I hate it? Because it's boring. This is so fucking boring. I would be more indifferent to this if it had something to say. But this has nothing to say. This is all fluff. This is like a white slice of bread. No butter, no jam, no flavor. Like, nothing going on. There's nothing interesting about this. There's no plot. Like when I introduced it, that the guy comes from an island, he's kind of sheltered, he doesn't know, needs to broaden his horizons, goes and lives with a family and ends up having sex with his cousin. That's it. Like, nothing else happens. He ends up going into school, he makes a friend, that friend gets jealous and starts hitting on him. Again, that's kind of standard fare. I don't even think that's worth mentioning, because it's, of course, every single thing that happens in this volume is as if you were looking through this. You know what this is? This is the epitome of the shitty BL that people use. This is like the gold standard of shitty BLs. That is absolutely 100% no point. There is no plot. There's not even any porn. There is no point. This is the literal physical definition of yaoi, as in there is no point to this. Because even the sex that's on the page is fairly tame and also kind of censored, self-centered, self-censors. It's very much nothing going on. There's no spice. The tension that's supposed to be there is whiny, moany, introspective. Oh, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? I don't even know. Yeah, well then shut the fuck up. Honestly, nothing happened. No plot, no porn, no fucking point. I would say this is forgettable, but there's nothing to forget. Nothing. And that's why I'm mad. I'm mad because this is every negative stereotype within BL. If you want to think about something that might happen in a BL, yeah, there it is. But it's done in such a bland, meh way that it's like it doesn't even happen. There is no. I cannot say anything happens in this. But then every once in a while I'd be like, yeah, yeah, okay, and just like of course that happens. Of course they've said that. Of course this is going to happen. You know, it's like so dull because there's nothing about it that is distinguishing. There is no distinguishing features. It is a slice of white bread. Done. I don't want to read volume 2. I don't want another full volume of the same because this was thick, full of nothing. So mad. So mad. I have almost fallen asleep trying to read this multiple times. You know what this has been good for? Chores. I'll read a few pages and I'll be like, no, I would rather wash my dishes. I would rather fold my clothes. I would rather hoover my floors. I've done chores today. Chores that I was putting off. Chores that I would rather put off. I've scrolled on my social feed. It's terrible. It's terrible. And the worst thing about this, about it just being a slice of white bread, is that it literally is saying nothing. It's got no commentary on anything, no issues highlighted, nothing to comment on in society. It's not exploring any issues. There is nothing about this work that is a distinguishable feature. I have nothing to say about it other than that it is boring and nothing happens and there's no point to it. What a waste. And the thing is, I was like, oh, I wonder what that's about. Ooh, interesting. No, it's got no interesting. Nothing happens. The whole thing. Nothing happens. When the status quo is maintained, like, what was the point? It's like watching once again, it's like watching a superhero movie when they fight for the status quo. And then you come out at the end of it going, oh, the heroes won, but at what cost? I read this, but at what cost? What a waste of my time. And I do not want to read volume 2. But I'm kind of hungry, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna have something to eat, and then I'm gonna read that Chuffin volume 2. Here it is, volume 2. And see how thick it is? It's even thicker. What the hell? What the hell? Satoshi is boring. There's nothing, he's hardly in it. And when he is, he's just being abusive. He's an abusive man. And now Yuki is annoying. And I hate this. I just wish, you know, like there's so many titles that I've read that have, you know, kind of annoying samey BL, old BL tropes. And I hate it when people hold up oh, this is such a bad thing about BL, and you're like, not all BLs are like that. And yet this is like, it's taken all the shittiness of condensed BL tropes and just put it into one thing. But with absolutely no spice and nothing unique or interesting, and saying nothing. There is no commentary on anything. There's no commentary on poverty. There's no commentary on gender roles. There's no commentary on sexuality. There's nothing. They're not even making any point like that. This is fluff, filler. There is nothing distinguishable about this. It's not even forgettable. Because what just happened? Nothing. Honestly, nothing. A very thick volume of nothing. And an even thicker volume. God, I don't want to. It's going to be the same, isn't it? It's going to be more of the same. Anyway, food, and then more of the same. Okay, so I've made some dinner. I've made some pizza because I had a pizza in the oven, in the fridge that needed to go in the oven because it was near the end of its date because it was a fresh one. So I've just added some things to it to make it a little bit more exciting, interesting, palatable, and because someone some things on it. And then I've got some salad as well, some pickles like beetroot and gherkins and sauerkraut, and some cucumber and lettuce. Just so that I've got a bit more veg. I mean, I kind of just added veg to it. Some ham and some veg. What's the ham called? Something, the Spanish kind. The kind with olives inside it. That I had when I was on a holiday in Lanzarote with my sisters. We had so much fun. I want to go on holiday to a sunny place and not have to read Treasure Volume 2. So I'm gonna have my dinner and a wee bit of diluting juice and feel healthy because it is a fairly healthy dinner, and I'll put half the pizza in the fridge for tomorrow or later as a treat if I finish it. I will. I'm gonna finish it today. I'm gonna read Treasure 2. I'm going to do it. I have to get this done. But while I'm having my dinner, I might just watch something. Probably a video, someone's video. I'll find something entertaining to watch while I have this. It does look good, doesn't it? Anyway, nothing interesting is happening today. I'm gonna get this read, and that's it. Sorry, this vlog is gonna be dull, so you may as well have a good old look at my food, because other than that, nothing's happening. Okay, so I have got to about, I would say, it's definitely a quarter. It's definitely a quarter. Yeah, of the way through volume 2, which, like I've mentioned, is a bit chunkier. You can see the character design and the art style has definitely become a lot more Yamakami Ryu and a lot closer to the cover art design compared to the first volume, which was almost exclusively in her older art style. This even when you see at the back, it definitely feels like there's a definite shift towards bigger eyes, and the hair isn't always as feathery. It's still a little bit, but it's not as feathery as it has been. So I've not got as far into this as I would like. But in terms of what's going on in the story, Satoshi and Naoyuki have gone back to the island and gone for a visit, and that was the first chapter, and then went to the second chapter, and of course with every toxic trope within a BL, and I hate saying that it's such a like when people say it's such, I hate it, but at the same time there are certain things, but they're not the things that people always point out. And one of the toxic tropes is the inclusion, and I do remember I think someone did like a master's or a dissertation, PhD study, I don't know which one it was, but they did a study. I remember them doing it back in the live journal days. They were doing a study on the inclusion of female characters in BL and how those female characters are represented, and how there's almost like a predisposition towards the hysterical or the crazy or, you know, the mentally unhinged, psychopathic, sociopathic woman, and how she will do anything to get in between the two main male leads. And that was certainly something that was in Challengers, and it seems like there's been an inclusion in this as well. It might turn out that there's someone else or that there's multiple people, but the inclusion of people who are there to just as a tool, really. Like the female character is just a tool for some degree of tension or some conflict, and that's it. There's no actual depth of character development of this character. She's just a woman who wants to insert herself in some way, and that seems like this is what's going on, which is a toxic trope in BL. That's a toxic trope in BL. The toxic woman who has no character depth and is entitled because she's a woman, and that's her only possible attractive quality. I don't mind them. Sometimes you kind of want that, but also at the same time you don't, because it's such a old-fashioned, tried and true method that doesn't actually hold much weight. I mean, I don't see many. I mean, for me, it's all about how are women presented, and are they mentally stable, and do they have common sense? And a lot of the time they don't. So yeah, I have been struggling to get through even this amount. I'm not enjoying it. It's maybe a little bit better than the first volume, but not by much. Not by much. So unfortunately, it is a little bit later, so I don't know if I'm going to get it finished today. I've been watching something on YouTube called Jet Lag, the game. It's really good. It's very fun. And they're in Japan at the moment, which is fun for me to see things. But I'm going to make a cup of tea and have a biscuit and watch that for a bit instead. Because I don't know if I can finish this today anyway. Good morning! So, I hadn't quite finished reading volume 2 when I went to bed last night. So I've got a bit of it still to do. Am I enjoying it more? No. Is the artwork more visibly recognizable as Riyu Yamakami's? Yes. Does that in any way improve the situation? No. I am not enjoying this. I do not like it. It's so prosaic. I can't see it being anything other than like a fluff piece. And also we're constantly going on. Satoshi is a jerk, and now Yuki is naive and doesn't understand basic human emotion. I'm like, ugh, where did I get to last time? This is where I was. I don't know where I am. I'll have to find it. But anyway, on to some positives. My breakfast. It's like an olive and ham omelette with some potato and vegetables. So something delicious that I can focus on. And then I will finish Treasure and have a cup of coffee. I'm having some juice to start with. But yeah, I'm going to need some coffee to stay awake to finish. I'm hating this. It's just so meh. If there was something even more offensive about it, I would probably enjoy it more. But it's just so... And it's not like it's not offensive. It is. But in the most inoffensively prosaic way. It's toxic. It's problematic. It's all of the above. But in a sort of meh blandness. And I hate that. So yeah. Anyway, last night I had a great time watching Jet Lag. Totally recommend that. It's brilliant. I never know who I'm going to be cheering for. But I was cheering for Ben and Adam, so yay! Go check out Jet Lag, the game. It's great. I want to do it. It sounds like so much fun. It's the kind of travel show that I want to emulate, in that when I go on holiday, I want there to be a purpose. It's not just a holiday. Because my brain doesn't switch off. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna have something nice to eat and then finish this awful series. So I've just made a cup of coffee. I have a little chocolate biscuits, and I have finished Treasure. But as I was sitting down, just put my incredibly hot coffee, a parcel arrived. So let's open this first. Let's get something fun. Let's get something fun in the video, shall we? Okay, so I have an idea of some of the things this could be, but I'm trying to remember exactly what I've purchased and what I've purchased through eBay. I didn't know that they did actual stickers on the bags for things. Oh. Oh, that's in great condition. Wow, so this is Kizuna, Bonds of Love Volume 3. Now, I could have picked this up, a second-hand copy. This is a brand new copy. This is really good condition. Fantastic. I guess that's what you, when you pay a little bit more for something, you do get a good one. I could have picked this up for about £3 or £4 back in the day, and I didn't. So I have ended up paying, let's see, because I've got the wee sheet of paper here, £9.82. So that's a fairly expensive one for me. But it is the Be Beautiful ones that I'm after. Is that gonna... No. It's gonna say no. Be Beautiful is kind of like one of the older ones. And I don't have many of them to get before it's a complete collection. So, Kizuna, I need to get all the odd numbers. So that's 1, 3, 5 and 7, and now I have 3, so I only need to get 1, 5 and 7, so that's good. So I only need 3 to get. And then I also have Embracing Love to complete, and I don't have many left of them either, so I'm closer, ever closer to completing another publisher, but it's still a long ways away. It would be nice to just buy the full set, and I probably should have. Sometimes that's one of the things you
you learn about collecting. Sometimes just buying the full collection that someone else has collected is cheaper in the long run, or easier in the long run. But yeah, having this a brand new copy, still in its plastic, I did not expect that. So yeah, very happy about that, and that's going to go in my wee haul video. It's a wee bit bigger than a wee haul video. It's actually probably much bigger than I want it to be, but never mind. So yeah, that's July's, going on July's pile.
What are you saying? What are you saying? Saying hello? You're such a sook. You're such a sook, and I don't know what your name is. Oh, yeah. Get a wee something? A wee visitor today? I was about to have some coffee. Oh no. You're such a sook. Oh, you love that. Oh, you love the scratches. Right. Shall I get you a wee something? Meow? Meow? What are we saying? Oh, huh. Anything else? Meow? No? Oh, should we go in the kitchen? Can we get something? Well, my coffee's getting cold, so let's get you something to eat. Eating? Food? Oh, there she goes. She knows where she's going.
Okay, so now that I've done my duty by the neighbourhood cats, she's such a sweetheart. She just loves getting petted, but she's also incredibly annoying because she sits at my windowsill and meows at me loud and long, wanting in. But yeah, she has a home to go to. Trust me, she does. Anyway, I have finished volumes 1 and 2, and there's a few things about this series that I think needs to be addressed. A few things that I might consider red flags. One is the width of these spines are quite different from the usual. So for me, I was like, are these omnibuses? But it doesn't say they're omnibuses. And then obviously you've got this artwork on the front, and you open here and the artwork is almost completely different. It is a difference between the art style at the beginning and then if you look at the art style at the very end. There is a bit of a difference in terms of how it's presented. Can't show you too many spicy scenes. Obviously at the end there's spicy scenes. But yeah, this is kind of a good one to show like how there is a slight difference for sure in how the characters are drawn. Satoshi's eyes are much bigger. She did try and continue the character design though, but it's very, very different if you look at this page here. This is her like cover art style. I don't know why she draws flat heads like that, because these do not look like the characters that are in this page, you know? It's just completely different. So her character designs, her drawing style changed quite a bit compared to the art on the front, but also the thickness of these volumes speak towards something. They're like red flags for me. The fact that this feels really dated and really old, the art style inside, and yet when you look, it said that it was published in 2005, and I'm looking at it going, wow, that's 2005? That doesn't feel like 2005. I'm trying to remember what was getting published in 2005, and in my head I'm thinking like Don't Be Cruel or Finder, that kind of thing, because that's a lot more polished. The art style is a lot more comic-y drawn, rather than this, which is a little bit more delicate. There's thinner lines. It's a different style. And so all of these things made me think I need to do a bit of research. So of course I went onto the Baka Manga updates website. Mwah, chef's kiss, I love it. Please go and check it out if you haven't ever. It's just a fountain of knowledge, and it really helped me to understand what this is. And I do think that other volumes and other works, like if we take Don't Be Cruel, it's a really interesting comparison. So Don't Be Cruel by Yonezo Nekota had a couple of chapters of Don't Be Cruel, Hidoku Shinaide, but then it also had a couple of side stories, and that's often how a lot of June Manga titles are. You'll get 2 to 3 chapters of the titular story, and then there'll be a completely different side story, one shot at the end, or maybe 2 one-shots, you know, that kind of thing. But you're going in, buying it, thinking it's going to be a whole volume of one pair, one character, or one couple, and then you don't get that. You only get a couple of chapters, and then you end up reading other stories which are maybe equally as good, maybe better, maybe a completely, you know, that you're not interested in. And that's what's happened here. So when I checked on Baka Manga updates, it had Takaramono, so that you've got this Takaramono, that's the Japanese for it, by Riyu Yamakami, originally published in 1998. Now when I open this and I search and I look at the art style, I think, yeah, 1998? This would have been really good in 1998. I'd have been like, wow, quite impressed with the art style and the paneling, everything like that. In 1998, I would have been like, yeah, this is a really competent young artist, up and coming, pretty good. This feels yes to the 1998-ness. But also yes to the 1998-ness of the plot, because there is no plot, and what we're doing is being incredibly introspective and spending way too much time in someone's head and not enough action. A little too much conversation, not even conversation, because that's an action. It's a little bit too much, you know, internal monologuing and not enough action or dialogue in that respect. Anyway, I digress. The point is, this was originally published in 1998, and it shows. It's like, yes, okay, this makes sense to me now. So when I checked, it was actually a 4-volume series back in the day, and you won't know this until you get to the very last page, where you get this little section at the end, where she says, this volume concludes the Treasure series, but there's a related comic release. It's called Koibito no Jikan, the Lover's Hour. And it's all about Naoyuki's friend Seitaro and Satoshi's ex-boyfriend Hiroto. The book has an extra story about Naoyuki and Satoshi and some short stories from doujinshi. If you enjoyed Treasure, you'll definitely want to pick it up. And then finally, I'd like to thank Supervisor S-sama for the opportunity to reprint Treasure. So that was like, okay, this makes sense. That's when there was a reprint. So they reprinted this and published this as a 2-volume series, or 2-volume tankobon series, in 2005. But it was originally a 4-volume series in 1998 and onwards, because it was a couple of chapters. That's why it's so thick, because actually you'll get 2 or 3 chapters, which is about this much, and then you'll get an extra couple of one-shots, which may be related, may not be related. Maybe just one-shots that she's had printed before, that kind of thing. And that's what they would bind up, and that would be volume 1. Then volume 2 would be another 2 to 3 chapters of these characters, and then a couple of extra one-shots. And what they've done is they've taken all of the chapters relating to these 2 characters, this series, Takaramono, and they bound them up into 2 tankobons, and they sold that in 2005 as a reprint. And that's what June Manga got the license for. So you won't necessarily get the extra stories about the 2 characters that she talks about in the end notice, Koibito no Jikan, because that might not have been reprinted, or it might have been that you could get that in a single tankobon, I don't know. I don't know. I need to find out how much Yamakami Ryu was published by June Manga, but honestly, having read this, I don't feel like I want to. But knowing that it's from 1998 makes me feel slightly better about this, because coming from 2005, I'm like, oh my god, this is just the worst tropes, so prosaically done, so lacking in depth or any kind of commentary on anything, and really no porn and no plot. There's no point. But I can see, I'm like, oh, okay, this is in that stage, in the 1998 stage, when there was a predisposition towards melodrama. And melodrama often takes place in someone's mind, not necessarily as a plot in how it's presented in BL. It was often like, even in Challengers, it's a really good way to think about it. You're in someone's head a lot of the time as they're trying to work their way through, usually when it comes to BL, whether or not they're attracted to someone, or is it right that they're attracted to someone? Is it right that they're in a relationship with someone who is also a man? And I don't know why that's good, but for me it's not. I'm so bored. I'm so utterly bored. It's like, okay, enough, we get it already. Now Yuki is such a whiny bitch. And Satoshi is an absolute, oh, he's such a jerk. And the thing is, the problems that they have in here is, in a modern lens, in a modern reading, you read this, and you know from a 25, because we now know that this is a 25-year-old manga, not from 2005. This is from 1998, so that's been 25 years. We know from a 25-year perspective, we can read something and say, you know what, 25 years ago, they were writing these stories, and they perhaps were not fully aware of how much abuse is in these relationships, how much abuse you are showing in the story. This is abuse. This is an abusive story. This is a story about abuse. It's also about people who are emotionally immature. That is for sure now Yuki, and probably should not be in, most likely, I don't even think it's a should, it's absolutely definitely these two people should not be together. One, they're cousins, like stop that. but also the way that they are with each other, they're emotionally immature, they need counselling. I mean, that's the difference between 1998 and 2023. You know, we can look at these and say, one, you are not communicating as a couple. You are not communicating. You are not dealing with the issues that you have as a couple and separately. And once again, I am asking BL characters to go to therapy. And for this, it would be... there's so many things about it that I hate. And I don't want to be like spoiling it too much, because I know there's quite a few people who probably haven't read this. I'm not going to recommend it though. I'm not going to recommend it. It's one of those ones that, like, I quite like her art style. Even in the old one, her art style is fine. It's very competent, and it's not explicit in any way. There's like, it's all very, you know, tastefully done, as it were, like preempting a law change where you weren't allowed to be explicit, and so this, or maybe depended on which monthly manga publication it was being printed in, whether or not you were allowed to be explicit. But there's so many issues with these characters. They're awful, awful people. They're awful to each other. They're generally just very bad. And everything that happens feels so prosaic. But that's because that's because we're 25 years on. And that in 1998, this was probably like, wow, it's so full of drama and angst, and oh, this is so groundbreaking, it's so shocking, and oh, it was the girl all along. And it's like, yeah, of course it was the girl, it's always the girl. But that's because it's 25 years on. Of course it's the girl, it's 25 years on. Like, of course he would try and rape you and you're just gonna forgive him and not even address it, not even bring it up. Like, when I talk about toxic things, and we did the whole toxic v toxic, and Crimson Spell was not actually that toxic. I mean, it was a bit toxic, but not massively. If I had to go through this with the toxic, checkmaker, it would have been ding, 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 almost every second page. Because there's gaslighting, emotional manipulation, lying, cheating, there's just disregarding feelings in general. It's a victimizing yourself. It's just a catalogue of all of these awful, awful things that back then might have been like, it feels like telenovela, but I don't want to say that because it feels insulting to telenovelas, because I think if you go in and it's like, this is what it's going to be, it's like, el escándalos, and you're there for it, you're emotionally prepared, you're like, this is the kind of thing I'm expecting. And I guess this is what BL fans were expecting. It's like, this is great because it's like telenovela. It makes me worried for like Love Mode, because I've only read a few things of Love Mode. I haven't read the whole of Love Mode. It makes me feel like, this was of its time massively. And the time was overly introspective, monologuing, thought processes, no communication, melodramatic, angst for the sake of angst, no actual through plot, and absolutely awful characters that perpetuate and, would you say promote? Abuse. There. That's what this is. Awful on all counts. I've rambled enough about this. For the fact that this is a 2-volume series, actually a 4-volume series. Did we know? Now we know. The more you know, the more you know. So this was actually just a collection of the chapters. I wish, who I'd wish they'd done this for? Hyota Fujiyama's Dear Green. Dear Green, oh my god, I love Dear Green. Dear Green is a very old-fashioned one. It has that sort of style change from the development across time. It's like a few chapters here and a few chapters there, printed in different publications, which is probably why we never got a bind up and reprint of it, because Hyota Fujiyama's work generally did quite well, and June Manga got quite a lot of them. But her absolute number one, most people's favourites, is Dear Green. And we never got that in English, and I would have loved an actual physical copy of that, all bound up together, so you can just read their story. And that's not toxic. it's right proper love. This is the thing. I read BL for the romance, really. That's why I'm reading it. But this was not a romantic story. There was very little, if any, romance in this at all. There is a naive, emotionally immature young boy, 15 to 16, who is sexually assaulted and gaslit and manipulated into having and continuing a sexual relationship with an older family member. That's what the story is. And by the end of it, Satoshi has manipulated him enough that he can finally come to the conclusion that he is emotionally matured to the point where he can say, I love you. The reason why he wasn't saying I love you is because he's not in love. This is abuse. This is abuse. Is this the worst? Oh god, every time we get this, Katie, I'm so sorry. Is this the worst? How low of the barrel are we scraping here? Every time we have to read an old backlist title and we're like, oh, And I'm not sure, this might be the worst. I'm not as angry about it as other titles, and I think that's worse because I'm bored. I was so bored. It was such a struggle to get through this. I fell asleep several times. I did all the chores in my house. I am like finding any reason not to read these over a day and a bit. And I should have been able to finish this in one day, but it was like, no, I just can't. I can't do this to myself. I'm gonna play a stupid, farming island game on my phone instead. I'm gonna play solitaire. I'm gonna watch anything on YouTube. Yeah, it's bad. Its biggest crime is that it's boring. That's the biggest issue with it, and I wholeheartedly will dissuade anyone from giving it a go. Do not read this. It's not worth your time. There are so many amazing new titles, and even the new ones that don't hit it and you give like a 3-star to, and you're like, that was alright, 3.5, that's fine. This, it's a 1. I'm gonna have to give it a 1 star. The 1 star for the artwork change, but I like the old style and I like the new style. I'm not averse to the art. I'm averse to everything else. How dare you? How dare you print this and force me to have it in my collection and read it? Treasure? No. Takaramono? Yeah. Gomi desu. That means it's rubbish. So yes. Treasure by Riyu Yamakami. This is the end of this vlog. It's been a boring vlog and a vlog of me ranting. Which some people enjoy. Some people enjoy my pain. If you did enjoy my pain, you can give me a fun emoji down in the comments, or let me know, have you read this? 'Cause God, I want to know what other people think of this. Is it just me? Is it just me? So if you have read it, let me know down in the comments if you have a similar or differing opinion. And if you haven't, did you have this on your TBR? Were you planning on reading it? Because I hope I've dissuaded you. Or you're going to read it just to see how bad it is. It's so prosaic. It's so by the book boring. Cannot recommend it. Anyway, thank you for watching to the end of this video. It's probably overly long, even for such a 2/4 volume series. So yeah, I'm 365801. I make videos about Beyblade romance, BL manga, yaoi, and all that good stuff. It's been a while since I did this outro, isn't it? I have a Patreon if you'd like. The details are down below in the description box. And you can find me on all my social medias. Take care, everyone. Every day is a BL day. It's been a while since I said that as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!